Hi, friends. Happy Monday and good morning. So happy to see your faces, your names, and I'm so excited to have this time with you today. Welcome to my very empty, echoey office. Is it echoing a lot? A little bit? Oh, shoot. Ah, yes, we got to get this thing filled up. But for now, I'm just happy to be here. So hopefully it's not too annoying with the echoing. And pretty soon I'll have a rug in here and furniture, and it's going to feel a little more like home, right? But I'm so thrilled to be here and to have internet because that was no small thing. So I'm feeling really happy and grateful to be here in this moment right now. I just got butterflies because I am so excited. First of all, honestly, you guys, to see your faces feels so good to my heart. It's been a crazy season for me. Just moved and then working on getting settled in and all the mechanics about moving. You guys, I kind of find it funny that we're going to be talking about this stuff today because I feel like I've been just like swimming in mechanics and like some chaos for moving, but isn't that just life? That doesn't ever change. That's life's. Moving is a little more intense, I will have to say, but I'm excited to share some ideas and thoughts with you today. Amanda just moved too. She's filling me. Oh my gosh, it is woo, lots of deep breathing for me when I'm moving and dealing with all those mechanics, but we're doing it and I'm learning a lot and it's awesome. But I'm excited to share with you some ideas and thoughts today. And I really want to preface this. Ashley, hi, Sammy, squirrel. Okay, so happy to have you here. I want to preface this. We all know that I am a human and I am in no way perfect at this stuff, right? Like big old huge disclaimer. These are tools that I actually do use that I've gathered over the years. I've created some of them I've learned from coaching, from seminars, from other friends. This is just a collection of gems that I've either created or that I've just come upon and adopted, and I actually practice and use this stuff. But that doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. It is a practice, right? So that's a big old fat disclaimer. And I want to invite you as well to look at these things like you're collecting tools that you can practice with. Not, oh, I'm going to be perfect at this, or I'm going to find a way to never feel chaotic, because we're learning about how to create peace in chaos, right? So I'll never be chaotic again. That's not even a reality. We're humans. We live here. The goal and the intention is progress, right? The goal and the intention is learning to practice this stuff. Just a teeny bit more peace every step, a teeny bit more peace. And then, oh my gosh, I got way chaotic. What tool could I use right now just to get back to a teeny bit more peace? What could I do right now to create just a little bit more peace in the chaos? Okay, so let's take a breath. We've either started school. I know my Southern Utah friends have already started school. We're starting school on Wednesday morning up here. And maybe that's not even the season of life you're in. Maybe your kids are all grown. Maybe you don't have any kids. Maybe you work full time. Whatever the season of life you're in, whatever the kind of life you have, I really and sincerely hope, and my intention is that you'll come away from this call, first of all, with a little more in tune with your own intuition on these things, right? That's where we always go, that you'll maybe hear your own ideas and your own thoughts just a little bit more on how to create more peace within the chaos of whatever it is you might be dealing with. And also to maybe take away a couple of tools that you hear and you learn about that you go, ooh, that feels like a good next step. I'm going to practice using that tool. And of course, that you'll always give yourself compassion as you're learning and as you're growing through this process, but also that you'll keep taking action, little bits of action. So I want you to write this down. Action, just action, little action, baby action. It is not about getting this done. It is not about all the mechanics on your mind or on your to-do list. It's not about them being done. It's about you getting started with just a teeny bit of action. That's the secret to peace, right? And it's not going to be perfect, but it is that process. Okay, so we're going to start with, I want you to ask yourself, I really hope you have a paper and a pen or something that you can write with, so you can capture some ideas that you get or something that maybe resonates with you that you want to try to practice. But let's start here. When you think about peace in the chaos, whatever the chaos is for you, whatever that looks like, whatever those dynamics are, what does that even look like to you? What do you think of when you think of, okay, what if I could create peace somehow with all the things that I'm dealing with within the storm, you know, that calm center of the storm? Like, what does that even mean to you? I'll share with you, for me, what I used to think it was, my friends. I used to think peace, it's like I looked at it like a graph, and I have my to-do list, and I was a perfectionist. I'm recovering now, but I was full on, right? And my thought was, once I get everything done, that's this part. Peace is what comes after everything's done. How many of you want to just like clap and laugh your head off at that? Can you relate though? Let's be honest with ourselves. When you think about it, if I can just hurry and get all this stuff done, then I'll sit on my easy chair with a drink and just relax, and there'll be peace. Do you guys relate to that? Like, if you don't call that out, that might be what your idea is about peace. Or you might be going, well, that's really sweet, Christy, but that's not possible because my life's just too chaotic. Anybody? Write down, for you, what does that even mean? And don't overthink it. For me, when I realized, oh my gosh, I literally thought peace came after everything was done. Raise your hand if you can relate with that thought. Or maybe at some point you were like, oh, when will the peace come? It will come after I get all these things done. Then I'll be able to rest. What does that look like if you actually do that? I picture like a dog that has like a little device that goes around their waist that has like a dog bone hanging, and it, like, wherever they go, it's just like a little bit in front of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be chasing that. You and I, if that's our definition of peace, we're just going to be chasing that forever, because the dog is here and there's a little device that holds that bone right there. So wherever the dog goes, its peace is just going to be a little bit out of reach, because we're never going to finish all the things. Am I right? Are you ever going to completely finish all the mechanics and all the things and be on top of everything all the time? If you are, please take the mic at this point, and I'll just turn it over to you, because, dude, teach us, right? But in my experience, it is that here I am and I'm chasing this bone if I think that peace comes after everything's done. Okay. So that was what I used to think. And now, as I've practiced these tools and where I am on the journey, I'm still on the journey and learning, but my definition of peace in the chaos looks a lot different. My definition now, what it looks like, it's almost like a space that I carve out like this. There's always stimulus. There's always people wanting to take my time, my energy, do you know what I mean? It's like they're coming at me from every angle, and they're coming at you. People asking you to do things, offering to take your time, people wanting you to be part of good things. Or maybe it's just mechanics and things that just always come at you from every angle. Are you with me? I have this vision of iRobot. Do you know that show with Will Smith a long time ago? Those robots that just like come at, and they're just like everywhere and they never stop. That's what I picture. That is this life that we live in, especially if you're a driven woman or man. You're going to have so many opportunities to buy into that. It's just always going to come at us. People that want to take our time, energy, resources, and ask us to do stuff. Lots of good stuff. They're not bad things. And that's the struggle, right? So here's how I visualize it now. It's me doing this. Peace is something I fight for. It's something I create at the beginning. It's something I intentionally hold space for, and I carve space out for this peace right here around me, right? Because if I'm not peaceful, is there any chance that my home is going to be peaceful? Right? And that's not a codependent message. That's just a reality and an awareness that what we experience around us starts with what? Us. So if you're not intentionally carving out that peaceful space around you, It doesn't feel peaceful when you're telling people no. It doesn't always feel peaceful. When you're carving out the space for peace, it doesn't always feel peaceful, but you're left with peace. As you're intentionally saying yes to things and intentionally saying no to some other things. It doesn't always, the process doesn't feel peaceful. It might question your identity. Like you're saying no to something that's really good. That means you're, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're left with peace. And peace is also, so it's this space that I carve out before the to-dos. So can you see how before it was to-dos, peace comes after when they're all done? It's the exact opposite. It's that peace that comes before. It's the 10 minutes when I meditate and I breathe for just 10 minutes before I get into my to-do list. You guys, that's the secret. It comes first and it comes throughout. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the rituals that I have that help me to keep reintroducing peace into the chaos throughout my day and throughout my life. What are you taking away, or what are you thinking about peace? I want to hear from maybe one or two people, and then we'll move on. What did you used to think peace was, or what does it mean to you now? What does that even look like for you to have peace in a season of chaos, or just the chaos? Okay, you can share in the chat if that's good. I want to hear your ideas because we learn together, and I love all your perspectives on this stuff. Okay, well then let's just get into it because I'm excited about this. Are you guys excited? I'm excited, Lisa. I got some ideas to share. Okay, 5 P's. Are you guys ready? Write the 5 P's. This is according to Christy Jex. This is not like some big research project. This is practice over the years. And this is what I have decided are the things that help me to create peace. And how cute, peace is a P word too. Are you ready? The 5 P's that I believe running anything through this filter will help you to be more peaceful and handle the chaos. Number 1, pray. That's the first P. I'm a God girl. If praying doesn't feel right to you, meditate. Breathe, get in tune with your own intuition. For me, it's getting in tune with my creator. It can be fast. You guys, before this call, I spent a lot of time preparing, and then I took a breath and said a little prayer, and I was like, what am I missing? What have you taught me before? You. What have I learned? What kind of light bulb moments have I gotten? What inspiration have I gotten that you want me to share with these beautiful souls today? And I got an instant idea. Okay. Sometimes it's simple, but number 1 is taking a breath and saying a prayer. Help me, inspire me, or listen to your own intuition about it. Number 2 P is prioritize. Okay. And I get it. That can feel kind of hairy because you're like, but I love all the things and they're all important. Okay. I know, but we're going to whittle it down a little bit more. So number 2 is prioritize. Number 3 is plan. Once you have those first 2, then you start to plan. Number 4 is prepare. Number 5 is be present. Okay, how many of you have a little bit of a squirrel brain? Where's my legs that I can put up? Some people call it ADD. I do actually probably have that a little bit. It's a gift and there's some shadows, right? Okay, that means you're probably a driven person because people that have that kind of brain, it's a gift because your brain is just boom, 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 boom. But also, how many of you have been worn out by your brain before because of that? And you're like, can I just take it off for a minute? Like it's just never ending. So those of us that have these kinds of brains, these 5 P's are going to help you relax your shoulders, relax your jaw when you get overwhelmed, and be able to start to put these things into a filter and start to move forward. Okay. So those are the 5 P's that you can run anything through to start to make some effective change or make some effective peace moving forward. Okay. All right. So I want us to now, with that being said, that's kind of a tool. That's a filter that we're going to run all these things through. There's someone at my house and I don't know who it is. Go away. Okay. But I want to begin with the end in mind. Okay. That is one of the keys to having peace in the chaos is not being in the storm. Step out of the storm and look at the end. What do you want to create? How many of you believe that you're a conscious creator, a co-creator? How many of you believe that your reality is created by you a lot of times? Not everything. There's always things in our space that are a result of other people's choices, or they're maybe not our choice, but what we experience consistently is a creation of ours. So if you're feeling like you're in the chaos and it's just overwhelming, okay, don't shame yourself, but understand too that you're partially creating that. Maybe you're unintentionally creating that. You're just not aware. You're not pausing. You're not slowing down to speed up to begin with the end in mind. Okay. So I want to ask you some questions and I want you to write. Okay. When you look at this next school year, because we're talking about starting school, what do you want? What do you want to experience? How do you want this next year to feel? How do you want your kids to feel, or your spouse? Or if those don't apply to you, the people close to you in your world, coworkers, friends, whoever that might be. What do you want this year, this school year? Do you want to feel like you're learning more consistently? Do you want to do more in your home to teach your kids principles? Do you want to spend 20 minutes a day just reading with your kids so you can feel like you're in the moment, present with your dollies, and you're teaching them? Do you want to work more on self-care? Maybe for the first time, all your kids are at school. Okay, yay. Maybe you're crying and you're excited. That's cool, right? What are you going to do with all that time? Begin with the end in mind. What do you want to create this school year? How do you want to feel? Don't overthink it. Just dump some thoughts out on your paper. Okay. Another thing to think about while you're writing, in this season of your life, so be present right now. If you have little dollies, you know that's a big part of your season. If you don't have little dollies, maybe you have big dollies. Yay. In this season for you, what are the hard yeses? What are the things that you're like, this is non-negotiable? This is absolutely part of what I will be implementing this year. I will not let this go. Whatever that is for you. For me, with this season of little dollies, these years are short. We know that, right? And that is not said to put this yucky feeling of you're not doing enough. These years are short. Don't do that. But it's about being present and realizing this season won't last forever. What do I want to make sure that I do this year? That's a hard yes. For me, when I think about this, I put on what I call funeral goggles. Okay. And I'm like, hey, when you're at a funeral, it's really easy to see what's important and what isn't. Are you with me? When you're at a funeral and your heart is being stirred, how many of you know that it's so inspiring to go to a funeral at times? It's sad, of course, but it also can be really inspiring. Why? Why is it inspiring to go to a funeral? Is it possible that you see clearly what matters and what doesn't? So write down funeral goggles, okay? When I go to a funeral, I really intentionally listen. Like the kids will get up or the family will get up and share memories. Ask yourself, what are those memories? Do they talk about like having the most perfect outfit put together for their first day of school? I mean, that's cool. And maybe that's your joy, but think about the kind of experiences that people talk about when they get up at a funeral. It's the simple stuff, isn't it? So what I'm asking you is, what are the hard yeses? When I ask you this, it's like you're putting everything into a colander, everything in there, and the only things that are left, it's a short list of the things that you're like, these are hard yeses. I will spend time with my kids being present intentionally every day. Does that mean you have 6 hours of undivided fun time? That's not what it has to be, but what are the hard yeses for you? And I want you to put a star by them and circle them so that you are beginning with the end in mind. At this season of life, these are non-negotiable. For me, self-care, physically moving my body and caring for my body is a hard yes. Are you with me? It's a commitment. It's a decision. Because you guys, when you make a decision and when I make a decision, that is peaceful. Because an unmade decision is exhausting. Are you with me? And that's a lot of the chaos that we create and that we experience is a result of unmade decisions. Are you with me? If you are deciding every day, maybe I should work out today, I'm not sure. How many of you have had that battle where it just exhausts you all day long? And at the end of the day, you're like, dude, I spent like 4 hours thinking about how I don't know if I should work out or not today. Right? Is that peaceful or is that chaotic? So I'm asking you, make a decision of the hard yeses. There should be like, maybe like 3 to 5 to 7 or something like that. In your season of life right now, what are the hard yeses? For me, moving my body consistently every day, probably not. I did my 10-minute miracle 2 years ago. I do that most days, but I'm not perfect. But that is a hard yes for me, making sure that I'm consistently moving my body and caring for my body every day, because it's about filling up my cup. If I don't have a full cup, I will not have anything to share. And what does that equal? Chaos. Okay, so we're going to talk about self-care rituals weaved in with all of this because it matters. If you want to be peaceful, take care of yourself. Make the decision right now that you're going to do something every day to care for you. It's a decision, it's made. It's not draining your energy. It's just a hard yes. Okay. What about with your spouse or your significant other? What are the hard yeses for you? Are you going to have like a weekly check-in where you sit down, and actually me and my boyfriend, we do this and we've done it for a long time. A weekly check-in where you sit down and you go, hey, is there anything that came up this week that we need to address? Let's check in. Or what did I do this week that you loved? What can I keep doing that you love? Or what happened this week that maybe I can do differently to support you better? Are you with me? You're checking in each week. You guys, ooh, this gives me chills, because guess what? This is a hard yes. And at your funeral or at a funeral, is this the kind of stuff that you remember? Having good, solid communication, caring for your spouse or your significant other, putting an intentional focus on these. This is a hard yes. It's a big rock. It creates peace. Because guess what? Think about this. Maybe I'm the only one that's experienced this. If there's an uncomfortable conversation with your significant other that you know you get to have, but you're avoiding it, is that peaceful or is that chaotic? Or if you're just like not intentional and you're just like, kind of scattered, you're not intentionally asking about what needs of yours can I meet? Or how did I do with meeting your needs this week? Is that peaceful or is that chaotic? And is it a secret? Those things bleed into getting your kids ready for school in the mornings, whether we know it or not, right? Because inside it feels how? Can you see how these things, these hard yeses, a few, will be the foundation for you and I to create peace with all the things that don't seem like it's connected? Why? It doesn't seem like getting your kids ready, their lunch ready, and having a check-in weekly with your spouse. How the heck are those things connected to peace? Right? But they do. They're hard yeses that when you begin with the end in mind and you just decide that that's something you do, it makes getting your lunch ready for your kids easier and more peaceful. Are you with me? Is that a hard yes for you? If it's not a weekly check-in, is it a weekly date night? What is it with your significant other that you know will move the needle that's a hard yes for you, that you're just deciding this school year, this is an absolute decision that I've made that I'm going to do? Did you write something? Did you get butterflies a little bit? You guys, when you begin with the end in mind with funeral goggles, it's kind of exciting to be like, no, these things are big rocks. They come first. The mechanics are going to get handled. But at the end of it all, what matters the most, when you know you've decided you're going to do these things, there's kind of an excitement. Are you with me? Misty's with me. She's getting it down right now. I love it. Okay. So along those same lines, big rocks, these come first. If you guys, you've all heard of this, it's not a new concept. When you are deciding what's a priority, and this applies to every area of life. You know that example where they say like there's a bowl and there's rocks, gravel, there's sand, gravel, and then big rocks. If you try to put and you want it to all fit into this bowl, if you try to put the sand in first, and then the gravel, and then the big rocks, it will not fit in the bowl. It's kind of a crazy concrete example of the stuff I'm talking about. But if you put the big rocks in first, there's only a few, and then you put in the gravel and then the sand, it fits. It's the same concept. So we just talked about your hard yeses, a few things that you are just going to commit to, beginning with the end in mind with the school year, handling the chaos with peace. It starts with that. But the big rocks, okay? I want you to write down maybe just a couple. Don't overthink this. This is a brain dump, and then we'll organize it. But getting your brain dumped and your heart dumped first is going to help you to put those big rocks in first. Okay, when I say the word self-care first, what are like the 2 or 3 things that you think of? Write it down. Those are your big rocks for self-care. For me, it's physical, must move, right? And then it's listening to things or putting something into my brain that helps me to get centered. What else is it for you? And then it's like doing the things to support myself with like supplements and diet and caring and being kind to my body through the things I'm eating. I get IVs, I get vitamin injection IVs. I do my supplements. I do all sorts of stuff to physically care for my body in that way. But what is it for you? Write down those things, maybe 2 or 3 things. And those are big rocks that will help you begin with the end in mind. The second one, mom life. And then I'm going to put this into a little applicable practice that you can do daily to help you manage your mechanics and your chaos. Okay, so do this first. Your mom life. Maybe there's things that you're thinking of. And this isn't necessarily 2 or 3 things, but what are the big rocks that you just want to make sure that you nail in your mom life? For me, I love being intentional about dates with my kids. Maybe once a week, I take one dolly on a date. And then the other times I'm like, today I'm going to spend 10 minutes fully present with each kid, in their eyes, listening, in their world. But what is it for you? What are those couple of things that you're like, oh, I just want to make sure I nail this in my mom life? What about your sweetheart life? Are there a couple of things that you just want to nail with your spouse, your significant other? If you don't have that, your best friend, someone close to you. Misty, your sweetheart life. What do you do? Sweetheart life. Okay. And then these things are going to have a focus on joy. Some of these things and connection. With your funeral goggles on, what the heck matters, right? Creating these 10-minute pockets where you get in there and you play Legos with your dolly for 10 minutes and you're all in. You're like, oh, here's a droid. And oh my gosh, Darth Vader, ding, 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 whatever. Like, you guys, it doesn't take a lot of time, but when you're intentional about these big rocks and you're like, these are non-negotiables, these are things I'm doing 100%, and you put them in first, everything else fits together and you can manage the chaos and create peace. What about in your business? A lot of you are business builders. What are just the decisions, the big rocks that you're like, I just do these things daily. It's part of what I do. A couple of things that come to mind. Don't overthink it. This is a brain dump. Okay. And then for me, like family, like my siblings, my parents, I don't even know what to call them. Matt's kids, my sweethearts, dollies. Oh, it's getting fun. Yeah. So like, how can I show up in those ways and build those connections? That's a big rock. Those are things that matter with funeral goggles on, right? Okay. Did you capture a couple of thoughts? All right. So are you guys ready for an applicable tool that I get fired up about? And it's so simple. So simple. Do not overthink it, because we're going to talk about an applicable system to help you to manage your chaos. Which system's the best one? You got digital, you have tons of apps. There's different journals you can use. There's all sorts of things, right? How many of you have a system for managing your to-do lists and things and planning your life? Raise your hand if you have a system. Raise your hand if you have 10 systems. Oh yeah, baby. I used to think like, ooh, someday I'm going to find the system, the one. That's like totally perfectionist thinking. How many of you have been caught in that trap? Like, I'm going to go to a class and they're going to teach me this one magical system that's going to just organize my life, and I'm going to have peace in my chaos and it'll be game over, right? Have you guys thought that before? I'm going to tell you a secret. Are you ready? The best system is the one that you will use consistently. Stop overthinking it. Stop thinking there's going to be a magic bullet. It's just a system that you will use consistently. Okay, I'm going to teach you one of my very elementary, simple, all you need is a notebook and a pen. And through the years, I've tried a bajillion systems. I've tried different journals and planners and all these things. And honestly, this is the one I always come back to because it's simple and it works and I use it. Okay, so how many of you have a notebook and pen? Raise your hand if you can get that far. Okay, you've got it. I'm going to share this with you. It might not work for you. That's okay. I'm just going to share it and hopefully you get something from it. For me personally, my friends, I like to write. There's something about the process of a paper and pen that helps me to untangle my brain because I have a squirrel brain. Bless it. It's so precious, right? I love it. It helps me do a lot of things and I also get to tame the squirrel. This helps me to tame the squirrel. Paper and pen. It's not about the finished product. And that's something that I think is really important to remember with systems for managing chaos and creating peace. It's not about what I write down, having a finished product. For me, it's about the process of writing it down. It does something in my brain and my heart that helps me untangle the squirrels and it helps me create peace. It helps me remember my big rocks and see my brain on paper. So then I can start to sort it out and create peace. So it's not about having a finished product planner. I used to shame myself and be like, I buy these planners and then I write everything out and I don't go back and look at it again or something. Are you guys with me on that? January, you're like, yeah, I'm going to kill this year with this planner. And then you're like, wait, I don't use it like I thought I would. Okay, that's because it's not about having a finished product. It's the process of utilizing it that helps you get your brain in a place and your heart in a place where you can be intentional instead of reactive. Write this down. Chaos equals reactive. If you are constantly being reactive, that is chaos in your life and with the mechanics, with the big rocks. If you're not being intentional ahead of time, you are going to feel chaotic. So can you see how when you double down on being intentional and just a little bit ahead of the game mentally, utilizing these things, it will help you to create peace. You're not going to have all peace, but it helps you put that first. Okay, so here's my system. I have so much I want to talk about, so I'm going to try to be efficient. I have a piece of paper. I'm going to show you my actual one, my most recent one. I probably do this once a week, like on Sunday night, or like once every few days. If I have a lot of mechanics and the looking at it being scribbly stresses me out, I'll take 10 minutes and just condense it and make a new one. So maybe twice a week if I have a lot of mechanics, but maybe once a week I do this. Okay, this is my actual paper. This is a little vulnerable. Okay, are you ready? Look at this. This is my most effective system. You see this? There is just the right amount of time. Write that at the top of your paper because it's not about time management. It's about energy management. Are you with me? It's about brain and heart harmony, and it's about energy management. So this is what mine looks like. See all these headings right here? So there's different headings. How many hats do you wear in your life? Do you wear a few? So for me, when all the hats are meshed into one to-do list, that's chaos. Are you with me? It feels unmanageable. I can't tell where my priorities are. It's hard for me to know what my next step is. Do you guys relate with that? So for me to have categories, every hat I wear, I have a brain dump list. So the first one is Christy, because self-care and filling your own cup is the only way to have peace long-term. Okay, so write your name. That's the first section. So maybe for you, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's more because I just moved, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe there's 7 or 8 sections. Are you with me? So 1, 2, let's do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so maybe split your paper in half that way. At the top, you write there's just the right amount of time. Okay. And the first one is you write your name, put a box around it, and then you can leave room for a list underneath it. And then for me, my next one is mom life. So I write mom life, and then I write all the things underneath it. The next one, errands. Errands. So anything that you have to do to leave your house, that's a section. Not to-dos, not something that you could do online, not answering a text message, actual errands that you can see that when you leave your house, you do those things. The next one for me is 10K. You know why? What does that mean? What do you guys think 10K means? Ruth knows. It's because you guys, in my business, Melissa gets it. Okay, I'm always framing things with affirmations. It is so cute to look at my planner from 5 years ago that says emerald time. And then it said sapphire time. And then it said diamond time. Now it says 10K time. Why? Because I'm always manifesting. So I'm going to talk about my goals. I'm going to write them, I'm going to talk about them, think about them, because FTTFCIA. So can you see how it's all interwoven? So then it says 10K, that's my business time. And then there's a list. So for you, what does that look like? What's your next goal with your business? If you have a business, that's the heading. It's not plexus time. That's like a missed opportunity. Write your next intention right there. So you it activates. When you look at that, you are activated right then. And then you write down your brain dump, okay? And then another one of the headings, maybe at the bottom, you can write mechanics. So things that need to be handled that are not errands. I call it mechanics for a very intentional reason. I'm going to share that with you. Mechanics are things like get my HOA. I'm reading off of mine. Start my HOA. Get my cement poured in the back. Get my utilities changed over. Change my address. Take care of my mattress return. I'm reading off my thing. Get my internet. Get my dryer fixed. Window coverings. Catch up on Messenger. Lehigh City. Get my taxes. Get my fence in. Things that need to happen that are not things that are errands. Are you with me? Mechanics. Okay, but it's in a different section so you can see it and you can separate it in your mind. Okay. I have a list for store. It just says store. And then things that I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I get dish soap. I just have it there so that it's in one place. So I'm not scattered, right? Okay, so you might have another couple of sections. If there's something that you're working on right now that deserves its own section, like I know, Lisa, I'm looking at you. I know that you have oh my gosh, stock show. So if she's in the season of stock show, it would be wise for her to have a different section that's stock show, okay? And you can just dump it. So here's the idea. Are you guys ready? Do you have your list? This is a brain dump. But once you have your list, I love doing this on Sundays. I go through and I just dump everything on my mind. So for me, on my Christy one, it's things like schedule my workouts, schedule an appointment with my dermatologist, get my blood checked. I'm looking at my list. Make an appointment with Carissa, an IV, schedule my IV, make sure I change my subscription to whatever. This is stuff that it's for me and it's a dump. Not everything on that list is going to be done that week, but it's dumping your brain of all the things that have to do with that so that you can rest your brain. Okay. With mom life, mine, it says book a trip. We're booking a trip soon. Is that going to happen this week? Heck no, but it's on my mind and I'm going to dump it. So it's out of my brain and on a paper. So I can then start to organize it. It's things like paint night with Lucy. It's having a date with Jackson, getting Jackson signed up for seminary, Christian's birthday, planning ahead. That was 2 weeks ago because I saw it coming and I was like, ooh, it's coming up. It's on my mind. I want it on my list. Whatever, getting Jackson some new Vans, Christian needs new shoes, getting whatever. Are you with me? So anything that's on my mind, and guess what? You might need to. Here's the thing. If you are just starting this and you feel like your brain is absolutely packed full of things, do you feel that? If your brain is totally chaotic and packed full, guess what you might get to do? This is a condensed version, this one page, your brain on one paper. Maybe you get to get a brand new sheet of paper for every section. Would that feel a relief to you? Maybe you need a master dump list that just is unlimited, where you can be like, this is everything on my brain about being a mom. and the things I want to do. And you just dump everything out on a huge piece of paper. So it's out of your brain and it's on paper. So if it serves you, if that sounds like it would be a relief, start there. Do like a big brain dump for every section so you can get it out of your brain and onto a piece of paper. And then maybe this one that's got the categories can be your weekly condensed. Are you with me? But maybe this works. For me, this works. Okay. So then here's what you're going to do. On Sunday, you dump this all out. And then maybe you say, okay, this week, which ones, you're not going to achieve all of it in 1 week, but you look at it and you get good at asking yourself, what is my next best step for each area? So you're like, okay, you can do this on a weekly. I get so fired up. I'm getting butterflies right now. You can do this weekly. You could do it monthly, where you look at it and you're like, this month, I want to do these 4 things for myself. I want to schedule these 4 appointments to make sure I'm taking care of myself and not putting me last, right? So you go, okay, this week I'm going to do that appointment. That week I'll do this one. Are you with me? And then you sit down weekly, Sunday nights, or whatever that is for you, and you say, okay, tomorrow, Monday, and you look at each list. Is there one thing that I could do tomorrow? What's the most important thing on that list to handle tomorrow? Just one. Dude, can you see how your brain is not fatigued? You're nailing just one thing and you've got your big rock so you can see, and you kind of start to look at your list and train your brain to begin with the end in mind with funeral goggles. But then also you look at your mechanics list. They are mechanics. They are not the most important thing. Are you with me? So when you see the order of this list, you're like, okay, yes, I have this list of mechanics. Look at how freaking long, right? Dude. But I'm not like, okay, those are at the top of my list. You're like, no, what's most important is taking care of myself, my kids, my sweetheart. You need to have a sweetheart list, right? Okay, I skipped that. But then you can see, okay, and then my 10Ks over here, my errands are right here. But you can see what's most important, and you train your brain to stop being chaotic about all the mechanics, and you're seeing the meaningful things, the big rocks first. Then you're able to handle the mechanics, but you don't give the mechanics the same energy that you give the meaningful stuff, your big rocks. Are you with me? Okay. This is a fire hose. Are you guys drinking with me? It's just a lot of ideas, and I'm really hoping that it serves you, but I'm going to see here, where are we at? So earlier is easier. Write that down. Okay. Earlier is easier. So picture if you did this for like a month and you're like, okay, you sit down. I love doing this. It's August 30th. How many 30 days has September, April, June? It's August 31st. And you're like, okay, I am so excited to be intentional with September. And you sit down, you look at what's coming, you look at what's happening, and you're like, ooh, on September 17th, it is my son's birthday. I'm going to start now. It's going on my mom list, so I can plant that seed early. Earlier is easier. Earlier is peaceful. It's not about having it handled 2.5 weeks ahead. It's about thinking and asking yourself, hey, what if it was simple? What can I do to nail this birthday? What can I do now to start getting the ball rolling so that it's peaceful on September 17th? It's not September 16th and I'm like, I don't have a present. Oh my gosh. And you're at Walmart and you're like, these things are stupid. I don't want this. This isn't right. So when it's earlier, it's easier and it's more meaningful. So this exercise, when you do it on a monthly basis, it helps you get that ball rolling earlier, which creates peace. It's easier. Okay. Let's see. I love to think of this, you guys. So when you sit down on a monthly basis and a weekly basis and you do this activity, I want you to picture yourself, and I picture myself like this all the time. This is how my brain works again. It might be a squirrel brain. I hope you relate. If you don't, bear with me. But I like to think of it like color coding. And believe me, I want to do this because this helps my brain, right? So if you think about, let's say every area and the meaningful stuff, mostly the big rocks, the stuff that with your funeral goggles, it still matters. you taking care of yourself, mom life, sweetheart life, your business, because there is a huge impact in that, right? And all of those things are color coded. What if every day you just had this beautiful tapestry of all the colors? You're a painter, you're sitting down with a blank canvas, because every day, every week, every month is a blank canvas. It's not afflicted on you. There might be things that feel chaotic. There might be a lot of mechanics to handle, but you're not a victim to those things. You are a creator. You are creating a masterpiece every day, every week, every month, every year. You're creating a painting. And just think of all those things like Christy life. So whatever that, your self-care, your mom life, your sweetheart life, your business, the impact that you're making. Ooh, dude, it matters. I just got chills. Your business, creating abundance, being in alignment, being able to serve. Those things are big rocks. Are you with me? They matter with funeral goggles. But picture you just painting this beautiful painting with all these colors. I took care of myself, that's blue. And then I had really quality time for even 5 minutes with my dollies. We had a joy moment, we hit the joy spot. And then my sweetheart, we had a check-in and it felt so good. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's messy. If you're gonna be authentic and real and lean in and have quality relationships, there will be messy times. That doesn't mean it's not working, it means it's real, right? But I had this talk that was maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but now we're feeling peaceful. And then over here, I got to touch someone's life with my business, and that's red. And you're just painting this beautiful painting of your day. You're co-creating intentionally with God, with the universe. And the mechanics, are you with me? Getting window treatments, getting HOA started, the to-do list, those are little teeny like, but they're not the bulk of your painting. You don't allow them to just be scribbles in your painting. It's not like, oh gosh, it was a busy week, so then it ended up just being like a big jumbled mess. That's a co-creation. That's chaos. It does not have to be that way, okay? But here's the deal. In order for you to create a beautiful painting, it's not perfect. Sometimes it isn't beautiful. Sometimes it is a chaotic mess. But the sooner you sit down, you do a brain dump, you take some breaths, and you start with taking care of you first, guess what? You can reset and you can go, what are my big rocks? What are my hard yeses? With my funeral goggles, what matters in this season of life right now? And you start to intentionally plan those things into your life. The mechanics, you figure out ways to handle them, right? And I'm going to end with some tips on how to do that. But can you see how when you reset and you start doing that, you start to feel more peaceful? Did your life change? Did the chaos go away? Nope. You just trained your beautiful brain and you learned how to be more of a conscious creator. Okay. Self-care rituals and then hacks. I have these cute little self-care rituals that you might think are silly, but I want you to think of ways you can do this for yourself. There was a season when I was burning myself out. I was burning the candle at both ends, and I was not being intentional about taking care of myself. I was actually like punishing myself by just like, gotta go, to do, right? And I wasn't being very intentional about caring for myself. And I was staying up way too late at night because I'm like, okay, kids are in bed now. I got all these things to do. And I would just like torture myself, stay up way too late. And then in the morning I was tired and worn out. Can you guys relate with that lifestyle? Okay. Totally do it sometimes, it's okay. But this is a very simple thing. And I want you to think of a couple of simple things that you can weave into this to send energetic messages to yourself that you can care for you. Okay, here's what I started doing. In the afternoon, you know that time between like 4 and 5, when it's kind of like, okay, I'm a little tired, like brain tired. I gotta do dinner, homework. You know that feeling? And it can be tempting to think, I'm just gonna punish myself and just keep going. I would go into my room, take a breath for a minute, and turn on my lamp, like by my bedside. That message was, I am going to go to sleep when I'm tired. That message was, yes, there's a lot to do, but this lamp means that I get to be cozy in the evening. When I'm tired, I am going to take care of myself. So it seems silly, but like I go around my house and I love to create that ambiance. I turn my bedside lamp on. That means, Christy, I got your back. It makes me a little emotional because I didn't for a lot of years. But those simple rituals of, no, when I am tired, I am going to learn to be done. I'm going to learn that all the mechanics, they're going to be handled. They're on my paper. They're not in my brain. They're on my paper. Tomorrow, I'll take a next best step. But I have got to cut it tonight. When I'm tired, I promise you, Christy, I have your back. And I turn the lamp on. Okay. And I go around my home and I turn my lamps on. I love cozy lighting. And I have chills. I get intentional with what kind of evening am I going to create here? Funeral goggles. Okay, my kids are all here. There is a lot to do. Yes, running people here, running people there, homework, blah, blah, blah. But when you're intentional with those rituals, turning on some lamps, what kind of energy do I want to have in my home tonight? How do I want dinner to feel? Even if we're sitting down eating corn dogs and tater tots, what energy am I bringing to this tonight? Then you start to create that piece first, and the mechanics get handled. Okay, so that's one of my favorite ones. The one touch. This is an applicable tool. I practice it and I preach it. Okay, I love having a clean home. It's not always clean. It sometimes is a disaster, but I feel more peaceful when I feel like my home is more peaceful and cozy. So the one touch, I teach it and I do it. When you touch something, put it away then. It's so tempting to just touch something, move it over here, and then touch something and move it over there. And then backpacks and shoes are all over. So I teach my kids the one touch. If you get a bowl of cereal, pour it, and then put it right back where it goes with one touch. Don't touch it 4 times. Don't do the cereal and then leave it there. Like when we do the one touch, guys, things are simple. How do you feel when our home is cozier and cleaner? Do you like that peaceful feeling? Let's do that together. The one touch. Okay. Offloading. If there are mechanics, if you look at your list and the mechanics are way overwhelming, offload. Ask yourself, what if somebody could do this 80% as good as me? If they can do it 80% as good as me, I'm going to hand it off, whether that's with your kids, and get intentional. Have a family meeting and be like, guys, here's a list of mechanics. Do you think it's right for mommy to have to handle all of this? Heck no. What do you think you can do to help? What can you do to support? If they can do it 80% as good, let go of control. It's not going to be perfect, and start to engage your kids more in lifting their weight and lifting where they stand around the home. Okay. Also getting an assistant or getting someone to come help you. If you're in a season of life where you have laundry coming out your ears and you feel super overwhelmed with all of it, what if it was simple? Ask yourself, what if it was simple? What's the solution? Getting the laundry done. Kids can help with that, but also if you need someone to come, if you need to pay someone to come over once a week and help you for 2 hours with laundry, imagine how much bandwidth you can free up to be like, my laundry is handled, check. Would it be worth the investment? It's about energy, not time. What could you then put back into the things that matter most? Your business, to create more abundance. Dude, offload. Okay. Here's the 3 questions to ask when you're offloading, just to help you get clarity around, is this something that I should be doing, or could I offload this? Number 1, is this something only I can do? I remember when I was in a really intense business or season building my business, I had to lean it out with what I could do and be like, I thought I was the only one that could do cleaning, scrubbing my toilets, but no, somebody else could scrub my toilets 80% as good as me. I'm offloading it because only I can build my business. Only I can show up for the 10 minutes with my dollies. Only I can do sweetheart time. Only I can take care of myself. Are you with me? Ask yourself, is it something that only I can do? Number 2, does this move the needle toward an ultimate goal? If it's mundane, if it's detailing your car, offload it. Someone else can do it. And it's not moving you forward on any goal. Number 3, does it bring you joy? Maybe you love scrubbing toilets. Cool. Do it. But if it doesn't pass 1 or 2 or 3 of those, consider offloading it so you can have more peace and get some support with handling those mechanics. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got 4 minutes. Let's see what's the most important thing that I can share with you before we end. So I think just some of the questions to ask yourself are so important. You guys, oh, hold on. I want to back up. A self-care ritual. I want to finish this. I have Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so remember I told you about the master list with all those areas? I want you to create a self-care list. Okay, it's going to be a brand new piece of paper. It could be in your phone. Mine is in Google Keep. Google Keep is one of my hacks for systems that help me have my brain. All my passwords are there. Everything that I want to remember is in Google Keep. It's just a Google app with notes. I can go in and put in the search bar anything. It is my brain and it's in my phone and it's right there, right? I have a self-care list. It's anything that makes me excited. Guys, I sing. I love to sing. I play the guitar, but I have not put focus on that. It lights me up. Guess what I've been doing for the past 2 months? I've been practicing the guitar for like 20 minutes a day. Guess who has calluses right here? Right? That came from my self-care list. It brings me joy. If you are not in joy, you are not going to have peace. If you're simply managing mechanics and the chaos, you are not going to have peace. That's not the way to do it. This is a hack. Have a self-care list, including things that you want to learn about, things that you're excited about, things you want to do eventually, things that you're not talking about that you want to do, things that you've never said out loud that light you up. Okay, dump those things out on a big self-care list. Maybe it's on your phone, maybe it's on a piece of paper, and you pull that baby out every single week and you say, ooh, which one thing? What if I just did one thing this week that lit me up, that was different? What can I do for 10 minutes a day on this list? I'm telling you, how does that relate? It does. Because when you're in joy, there's an energy and you start to be able to manage the mechanics and you start to create more peace. Okay? Okay, one last message. Yes means no. Write it down. Okay. One of my biggest struggles is I have a very active brain and a big passion for learning. And I have a passion for a whole lot of things, you guys. I was a photographer. Did you guys know that I used to do pictures? I used to do like weddings, families, babies, all the things. I love photography. I love capturing moments. I also love music. I also love building businesses. I also love to work out. I love hiking, right? So it can be like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. And I also love to serve. And I also love, so can you see how that could start to feel chaotic? Not to mention home life, mom life, sweetheart life, dude, right? But yes means no. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Be aware of that. When you say yes to something, directly be aware of what you are saying no to. For example, when I say yes to mindless scrolling, I am saying no to something else. What might I be saying no to? 10 minutes of meditating? That 10 minutes with my kids in their world because I'm overthinking it and I'm like, dude, I'm going to take them to Disneyland. That will be the moment. What if it's 10 minutes, right? Of just intentional time in their world. What are you saying yes to right now? Make sure that it's a hard yes. Because if it's not a hard yes, it needs to be a no. And not always. It's not perfect. It's not black and white. But there is a time and a season to everything, my friends. There is a time and a season. Kindness and compassion to yourself, because you may have to say no to some things that feel quote unquote wrong to say no to. Are you with me? But nobody else can take care of you. Nobody else can take care of, no one else can manage your brain like this. Nobody else can know if it's the time and the season for you to say yes to it, but you. So remove the shame, remove any sort of meaning about, I'm not a good person because I said no to this. For example, this is very vulnerable, but I'm going to share it. I got a text from my Relief Society president, who's a church leader, which I so appreciated from moving into this ward. This is vulnerable. Ooh, and I'm almost done. But she was so sweet. And then she said, and I went ahead and gave you a ministering assignment, blah, 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 blah. Great. And I said, oh, you know what? Guys, I'm recovering big time with a lot of things. When I look at my hard yeses, it doesn't make the cut. It always has. Are you with me? I love people. I love to serve. At this point in time, it is not a hard yes for me. If I said yes to that, it would be saying no to something else that's a hard yes. Are you with me? And I just kindly said, I so appreciate you reaching out. I love to serve others and love on others. This is not a season where I'm going to be doing that. Meaning next week it could change. Next month it could change. Who knows? But I know myself. I know my heart. I know what I can say yes to and what would say, if I said yes to this, it would be a no to something else. Are you with me? That feels hard. And it's easy to attach meaning. But guess what? This is a season.
Nope.
This is a season that is not going to last forever. But I am accountable to what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to. My dollies need me. I need me. I'm healing. It's not the season for that. So I very kindly and lovingly said, that is not going to work right now, but I cannot wait to meet you and get to know you, blah, blah, blah. I'm not advocating saying no to those kinds of things. I am saying check in with your own heart, check in with what the season is, and don't be afraid to have boundaries about what works for you and what doesn't. Because when you say yes, you say no. Are you with me? It's not about shame. It's not about meaning. It's about awareness and being intentional with what you say yes to and being all into what you say yes to. That is peace. That is where you start to have peace. The no's and the yeses and the decisions that are made without drama, without meaning, are when you start to have peace. You create peace in the chaos. Okay. All right, my friends, I want you to write a word as we end for what is your intentional focus this week. It could be what, maybe your kids are starting school. What do you want to create this week? Okay. Because it all starts with a simple intention. And remember, earlier is easier. You thinking about this right now is going to make it easier to have peace throughout the next week. You planting the seed right now will help you make it easier on a Thursday night than when you're not intentional at all, right? And then one action. So I just waterfalled a whole bunch of ideas on you, right? But what is your one action you're going to do? Are you going to do a master self-care list? Are you going to do a brain dump with the categories so you can feel peaceful? What are you going to do? Maybe it's something I didn't talk about, but I want you to just choose one thing that you're going to do this week. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for joining. I really honor that you would take time out of your life to be here with me. I love you. You matter. Let's create peace, my friends. I love you all. Let's make an awesome week. Bye.